Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Sword. We are talking the biggest threats to the Georgia Bulldogs, who are going for 3 straight national titles, which is essentially unheard of. It feels like it with Alabama, you'd think it would have happened, but it never did. They always came up just short, and it shows how difficult it is to achieve, because even if when you're bringing in talent after talent after talent, you're still bringing in new pieces. It takes time to adjust, and teams, you have a target on your back. More than anything, you have a target on your back. So we're going to break this down by conference. We're going to start with the SEC because that's where we're all from. There really are 2 teams, I think, that can compete with Georgia. I know someone commented on the article that you wrote yesterday, Alex, sportstalkatl.com. Check it out. Oh, no mention of Tennessee. Like, we're talking national. We're talking national titles, buddy. We're not talking like upset win. Like, listen, if Tennessee and Neyland upset Georgia, it would not totally shock me. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but it wouldn't totally shock me. It's a crazy environment. Like we said, we don't know how Georgia exactly is going to look with a new quarterback and new coordinators and everything. Wouldn't totally shock me. They're not going to string together enough wins to that. First of all, they're going to have to beat Georgia and Alabama. One of those two, make the SEC championship over Georgia, and then beat the SEC champion. It's just not happening. And
they also have to go to Florida week 3, and I'm not convinced that they're going to win that game. Like,
so
that,
they're going
game
to have no
go
slip-ups and beat one of Tennessee or Georgia or Alabama or Georgia. Georgia at home, Alabama.
Because Georgia's not losing more than one. Yeah, you can't lose 2 games. So
so it's just like listen, like if we're talking about upset win over Bama, like okay, maybe you get one of those, but you're not winning a national title. I hate to break your hopes, not with a new quarterback. It's just not happening. So we'll talk about the 2 teams, LSU and Alabama. One of those teams is probably going to come out of the West. LSU, we're huge LSU guys, Alex. You don't watch the show often. You know, we both went to LSU. We're very confident in this team. A ton of talent brought back. There are some holes, not as much depth. Health could be an issue if things arise. I just am not. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think I'm as high on this LSU team as the national media is. Like, I see teams. I see Colin Cowherd picking national championship. You see the Crane and Company show. Like, they have them as like the number 2 or 3 ranked team. I saw a TikTok yesterday from a big guy who's like, yeah, LSU's making the college football playoff, like all these things. It's just like a constant. Everyone is picking them, and I don't necessarily like that.
It doesn't matter, because you know what Brian Kelly's telling his team? You guys aren't anything. He's doing the exact same the exact thing Nick Saban, Kirby Smart do, that all great coaches do. Don't give in to the cheese. Don't eat that rat poison. He said it weeks ago, and you were confused about it. We agreed that Brian Kelly's doing this for a reason, telling his team, we are not on Georgia's level yet. You know, and it's true. Kirby Smart has so much depth all over the roster because he is in Alabama as well, and Michigan. It's because those coaches have been there. They're stabilized. The foundation is rooted in. They're just replenishing. They're just reloading because they have top 5 after top 5 after top 5 recruiting classes just coming in. So these, 4 and 5 star guys that are leaving, Jalen Carter gone. No, well, you got another All-American to step in right next to him. LSU doesn't quite have that. Though they're deep in some areas, they're very, very thin in other areas. And though I do think they can come out of the SEC, I agree with you, Chase, that everybody picking them, it seems a little – the only thing they have absolutely over Alabama, in my opinion, is the depth along the defensive front and the quarterback position.
The quarterback, extremely I was about to say, whoa.
But the quarterback position, bar none. I mean, Garrett Newsomer could start at Alabama right now, and he's our backup. So I will say LSU does have, guys, no doubt about it. But the hype train, I mean, let's slow down.
All right, so what I wanted to say about LSU real quick, it doesn't matter. If they start Spire, Jay Daniels, whoever, they're all better than whoever Alabama's going to trot out week 1 at least, just at the moment, because it's either going to be, I think, 2 freshmen or Jalen Milroe. But that's my thing is with LSU, like whenever I have to pick somebody that's not Georgia, I've defaulted to LSU mainly because I think they're going to beat Alabama. And like I think Alabama might lose to Texas. I don't know, it's kind of becoming a square pick. But if you give me the choice between those two, like I lean LSU at that point. Maybe they lose one, maybe they lose to A&M or somebody like that. But still, that's a 1-loss team in the playoff, and I think they have just as good a chance as anybody at that point.
I do think if they get past Florida State, they've got a very good chance of making the playoff. because I think they can go to Alabama and win. I think Brian Kelly definitely, that he makes a point of that game. You saw it last year. There's going to be heavy emphasis on it. I know it's a revenge game. I know it's on the road, but I think they're so much better at quarterback that I think that could win a game on the road, especially in the SEC. They get A&M at home. That's another revenge spot for LSU. I think that works in their favor. So they got some things working in their favor. They do have to go on the road against Alabama. That's really the critical piece here. Like, I think whoever wins that game is coming out of the West, and then they're going to have probably – I don't see Alabama or LSU running the table. I could be wrong, but that means they're going to have to beat Georgia in the SEC, because if they don't run the table, they got to win that SEC championship.
Yeah, and also let's make this clear too. We're talking a lot about LSU, and we're saying LSU or Alabama. Just burying Alabama and Nick Saban is never really a good idea. And just saying that these guys are just like, oh yeah, they're an afterthought. Like, we got to relax a little bit on that. But I do think this is probably one of the worst teams that they've had. I'm not in love with Kevin Steele. I'm not in love with Tommy Rees. But at the end of the day, this is still a Nick Saban coach team, and they can easily still win a championship, and it really wouldn't be all that surprising.
Yeah, I get very annoyed. I hate Alabama as much as the next guy. Georgia fans, Auburn fans, whoever you like, you watch. I promise I hate Alabama just as much. But the Georgia fans in particular, who are kind of like snickering about, oh, Saban's smiling, watch out SEC. They're like, oh yeah, okay, maybe he's just smiling because this is the last year he's going to be there. You guys are crazy. This guy, made a deal with the devil. He's never quitting. And this guy can win a national championship this year with who is ever at quarterback. That's how talented this guy is as a head coach.
I want to mention one thing before we go to break. Alabama gets all their big games, Texas, Tennessee, LSU, all at home. They get them all at home. So that's a big thing. Coming up after the break, we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to move to the ACC with Clemson and Florida State.